allir íslenskir vísindamenn sem ég hef heyrt úttala sig málið sagði þetta væri okkur mönnunum að kenna hvað þetta væri að gerast hratt, þessi veðurbreyting. Það kom skammabréf. Ég hefði verið ópólitískur. Samt orðaði ég þetta bara svona, sko. Ég bara, þeir vísindamenn á Íslandi sem töluðu þetta, segði þetta væri okkur mönnunum að kenna. Þetta var einhver kanni sem var ekki ánægður með. Today I will definitely talk a little bit more about geology, and well, we've already seen a fissure and being on the fault line of the North American and Eurasian tectonic plates. But there is another thing that I find so interesting, and it's sort of this buoyancy of land, if we think about it. And coming up here on our left-hand side is this mountain Ingólfsfjall in the rock. Very close to the road, you can see those grey, really grey, like pillows. It's called pillow lava. And pillow lava is only created in an eruption that happens under the ocean or under ice. And this here, that we have now in front of us here on the left, those grey patches, those were created in an eruption under ocean, telling us that the ocean was about 70 meters higher than it is now. And that is simply the land was pressed down. And since the settlement, it has been rising. And we have an area here on the right, on the other side of a river that is here, and that is called Flowin, or the bay. And it was a bay when the settlers came here. They could sail their ships very close to this mountain here we have on the left. So in this short period, things have changed quite a lot. Then talking about those things in front of us, sadly hiding in clouds. Here at maybe 12:30 is a volcano well known to many in the world since it erupted 2010 and caused so much trouble. Covered with clouds now. It's called Eyjafjallajökull, and stopped about 10 million air travelers for some period. Right in front of us, hiding it in clouds, you can see a bit of spiky mountains. That is an enormous volcano called Tindfjallajökull. Has been quiet for about 45,000 years. Truly hope it stays calm. It's would be a pyroclastic sort of explosive eruption if that would erupt. And then here at 11 o'clock, front to the left, is a volcano well known also called Hekla. Hekla is the second most active volcano in Iceland. There are very many interesting things about volcanoes here. Maybe since we have Eyjafjallajökull hiding here in front of us, that eruption wasn't really a big eruption. lasted close to half a month, but managed to cause all this trouble in Europe and in air traffic. We really didn't suffer, except of course the farmers living close by. They truly suffered and it was awful. But in general, in Iceland, it didn't affect us very much. There was another eruption, 2011, and that was of a similar size, and that troubled us here in Iceland a bit more because the winds were southerly, meaning the ash cloud was over Iceland. There were northerly winds in the Eyjafjallajökull eruption, and that's why the ash cloud was blown southbound. But then we had another eruption that has started in August 2014, lasted through February 2015, and it created a lava field so big that we could fit Reykjavik city onto it. And you haven't heard about that probably. And in total, since the year 1900, we've had 41 volcanic eruptions in Iceland. We are aware of at least 3 volcanoes that are ready now. One of them is Hekla, the second most active volcano. We talk about her. It's a female and she is a troublemaker because she's the only one that we cannot get a warning in a good time. Last time she erupted in the year 2000, scientists told us, warning, warning, Hekla is going to erupt within the hour. 37 minutes later she started. In general, with volcanoes in Iceland, our scientists can warn us 24 to 48 hours before the eruptions start. So Hekla is a troublemaker in this sense. And she was so active from the time of the settlement and into the Middle Ages that the church in Europe spoke of Hekla as the entrance to hell. And even in Sweden they have a saying when they're telling someone to go to hell, they say go to Hekla mountain. There is another thing that is interesting about volcanoes in Iceland. I'm almost absolutely sure that your image of a volcanic eruption is one crater erupting. That's almost never the case in Iceland. Volcanic eruptions in Iceland are always fissure eruptions. It's simply like someone opens up a zipper in the land and we have a fissure opening, maybe 1 kilometer, up to 27 kilometers long is the longest I've heard of, and the whole thing is erupting. You're standing in front of a wall of fire. Then, as the eruption goes on, it goes into several craters erupting, and the very last bit might fit your idea or your image of an eruption, one crater erupting. So this explains why we have very many elongated mountains, those mountain ridges. And we will definitely be seeing some of those today. Nu glemte jeg, náði ég ekki að segja huldufólkssögur.